Nyeshi Christel, F01 speech, summer 2015. My audience. My presentation is on adoption and it'll be persuasive. Did you know Department of Human Services is now leaving neglected children and abused children in the caretaker's hands? Recently, within the past couple of years, the law has changed. In 2013, the law changed to where DHS hands are tied, and when it comes to the children, they are now told to leave the children in the hands of the caretakers and give them ample opportunity to correct the problem that led to the referral to begin with. I'm going to give you a screenshot of 2006 when my children were removed. In 2006, I kind of let, the wrong person stay in my home, and some things happened and it led the police to my home. Well, although they didn't find anything, well, the guy that I let live with me, they wasn't too happy of him. Let's just put it that way. So when they came and they didn't find anything and got upset, my children were affected by this. So my children were placed in DHS custody. At that point in time, I was given a treatment plan because I didn't want to lose my children. So I began to complete this treatment plan that I was given, where we had to do family counseling. We also had to do role therapy, to where we had to be watched, interacting with one another. We had to do role play, where I would allow the children to be the mother and I'll be the child. And they just give you various things to do on this list, to include parenting class. Now, your parenting classes, the first 8 weeks is called a responsibility course. The responsibility course is to allow you to take responsibility for whatever the reason was that led to the removal of your children. When you get to the next course, which is nurturing, that course is 15 weeks long. Once you complete that, you've completed parenting class. But until you've completed both, you've not completed parenting class. Although I did everything they asked me to do, I kind of hung with the wrong people, which kind of took a detour in my case. So when I hung with the wrong people, my children were at that point affected once again, because they started out living with a foster care placement. They moved from foster care placement, from a shelter to foster care placement, then to a family relative. There's different types of foster care homes, just so you get a better idea of what the different types of foster placement is. There's kinship placement, where your children obviously knows the other party, you're related in some manner, which that will fall up into a kinship. If it's therapeutic, the child is in need of an IEP, mental health, physical disability, but they have a special need that only a special type of person can take care of, and have been trained and have ongoing the certifications needed to deal with a therapeutic child. If they're in a regular foster home, that just states that the foster parent has taken some classes, they've passed them, and that they're willing to do everything that DHS requires of them, and that there's no relation between the child and the foster care placement. So now that you know the 3 different types of foster care placements, you can now follow me as far as the process goes. Once I went through the process and my children were replaced with my aunt, they stayed with her for about 7 years. In 7 years, I went to court and they wanted me to sign over my rights. At that point, I was a little bit stubborn. I wasn't too quick to give in, and I wasn't too quick just to listen to what they were telling me. So as I continued to think, I just kind of let it go. I walked out on the situation, had a little minor breakdown. My children were, at that point, a ward of the state. This means that it can go one of 2 ways. Yes, if the caretaker agrees to keep them, they can become the adoptive parent. It's still up to the judge. It can be a random person. You don't know. But the thing about it is, with the adoption, is we want to make sure these adoption parents are in it for the right reasons. We want to make sure that they have the child's interest at heart when they take these children. Now we're faced with shelters closing around the United States. We're faced with at least 75. We're in need of foster parents, something terribly. And now, because we don't have enough placements to place the newborns up to 9 months old, the Department of Human Services is advertising, basically. Not only are they advertising, but they're going to the media. They're going to the newspapers. They're posting it on their websites. They need help. They need more foster homes. We need more foster homes that's going to do right by these children. We need foster homes that if a parent can't or choose not to do what they want or should do for their child, we need a foster parent that's going to stand in the gap for that child and actually be there and not leave that child and help them through whatever the situation might be. The shelters that are closing is leaving limited space for DHS to have to deal with certain situations. I spoke with a DHS worker, and she told me that she felt like their hands are tied because they don't have the same type of power they used to. Now, since they don't have that power, they're kind of required to leave the children in the home for a little while, at least. But after now, you don't get 3 years to try to do what you have to do for your children. They start out with 3 months. If they don't see you doing what you're supposed to do in 3 months, they move toward adoption. So that leads me to the point of who's going to step in the gap? What's going to happen to our children that's out here now? And since we don't have enough foster parents, can we get anyone to step up for these newborns and help raise a child? A child deserves a chance too. We can't just throw a child in the midst and say, hey, it's all your fault, or there's no better resources to turn to. We have to give that child an option that that child wasn't given before. Let's show that child that, hey, we'll stand by you while you go to school. Hey, you can go off to college. Hey, you can be anything you want to be if you just try and don't give up. You might fall. It's okay. You might even bruise your knee. But just wipe it off and get back up and try it again. We need foster parents like that that's going to love, nurture, and care for these children. Are you going to be one? I'm hoping so. I'm hoping so by the end of this, you see the trials and the long time frames that the children have to go through of this mental distress that's causing emotional strain on these children. So much emotional strain to where children rebel, they regress, they become angry, they become violent, they become doing all sorts of things. So why don't we just step up and just help a child? Why don't you make amends this year? Or just make a pledge to help one. You may not be able to help all the children, but you can at least help one. So my goal for you today is, and I challenge each and every one of you, just go to Oklahoma DHS and apply to be a foster parent if you're not already one. And help a child and stop the process from sending a child from one home to another. If you have any information, you can get more information on foster care by going to www.okdhs.org/foster. As far as the parental rights are concerned, if you have more information or need more information or need any more clarification on it, you can go to www.childwelfare.gov. These sites provide great information for you on a factual basis that you're able to stand on and actually able to check out the resources that's available there. You're also able to look at the available links if you wish to get started with foster care parenting or be a part of a child's life.